Okay. Hi, Nnamdi. How are you doing? Oh my goodness, it's such a pleasure to meet you. How are you
Yeah,
doing? How's your day going?
yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. My day is going well. How about you? Hope you're good.
Good, good. I really like to get Adam to this conversation. But of course, I know you, and I'm 100% sure that people who are going to be watching this episode would like to know you. So, probably in a few minutes, just give me a quick summary of who you are, what you do, and just something that if people are just seeing you for the first time, would listen to this, they can already say, "Oh, I know you." So, in a few minutes, just give me an idea of who you are.
So, okay, please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. I can loud and clear.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my name here.
Okay.
My name is Osuji Nnamdi Daniel. I'm a senior software engineer.
Okay.
Mm, yeah, I've been a software engineer for over 5 years. All right. I've worked in several organizations, ranging from the consulting space, the finance space, the logistics space, and now currently I am trying to build my own startup, like my own product. It's called EduArk. So yeah, so whilst I'm still like a full-time software engineer, right, but still trying to like have my own product, build my own product, and have something for myself. So I think that's just like a brief summary of myself, basically.
Okay, perfect. Love it, love it, love it. And I mean, for the next 30 minutes, we're of course going to be having Inamdi speak to us about a conversation that I feel like a lot of people will be so excited to have, because I feel like it's also one conversations that we kind of shy away from. And that's the idea of how do you train your mind to be solution oriented? How do you train your mind to actually see a problem and just think of, okay, this is the solution, or I am very, very capable of solving the solution, right? So I'm going to ask you a very, very first question. Whenever you come, so this is from a personal point of view, because all of this experience is to just know your thought process of this conversation, of course. So
Yeah.
whenever you experience a problem, not let's not even call it a problem, let's call it a situation. Whenever you're in a situation, first off, what's your first thought process? So when I mean situation, I mean any situation, bad, good, compromising. What's like the first thing that your brain registers?
Okay. I think first things first, I try as much as possible not to panic, right?
Okay.
So as much as possible not to panic, and I try to figure it out basically, right? What is the problem? Do you get me? I try to have it all figured out. That okay, once I've figured out the problem, my next step would be, all right. So how do you go about solving this problem? Do you get so? In situations of tension and all of that, what I do basically is I try to stay calm, figure out what the problem is, and then my next step would be finding out how to solve that particular problem. And
Okay.
once I solve that problem, I try to learn, right? So as not to go back to that same issue, not to have that issue come up again, right? So I learn from my previous mistakes or past experiences, basically, right? So basically, I work with like I have this mantra that I use, right? I call it the 4S. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think the first one is to see it, right? You see the problem, right? For instance, I'll use my experience as a software engineer, right? Okay. This app is not working, users cannot log in, what is going on, right? So the first thing to do is actually figure out what that problem is, right? Why are users not able to log in? Is it like a network issue, database timeout issue, or whatever, right? So first of all, you have to see the problem, what it is, right? And then the next thing you do is you shrink it. The second S now is shrinking that problem. When I say shrink, um, you take it bit by bit. Do you get? You take it bit by bit. You don't have to figure everything out, right? But once starting is actually you starting something that's actually you solving that particular issue you're having, right? So I shrink it into different bits and try to tackle them, right? And then the next S for me is to ship it. What I mean by ship it is you don't have to get everything to be 100%, right? An 80% problem solution, right, that have been implemented It's better
Okay.
than 100% solution that you just have in your head. Like no even
Yeah.
started. You get me? So whatever you have, you ship it, right? Now let's go away from the tech aspects. Anything you feel like could actually help you solve a problem, you do it. You don't really have to figure it all out, right? You could say, like, we have Nike. Nike will say, just do
Mm-hmm.
it. You get so
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
start, right? Start, just do it. So that's the third S, which is shipping whatever solution you have. And then the last one for me is to study it, right? You study patterns, so as not to get back into that same loop again, right? Okay, now that I've solved this problem, is there a way for me to actually make it better than what it is now? Right? You get so those are like the four mantras I use when I'm stuck in a problem.
I feel like that's actually something new. I'm also learning. So you see it, you shrink it, you ship it, and you study it. Perfect. So I feel like you have answered my next question, but I'd just like to put it out there. When you actually encounter a situation or a problem, what do you think is the first, or not? I won't say what do you think. What is the first question you ask yourself that you feel like other people don't ask themselves? As a solution oriented person,
Okay.
what's the first question that you ask yourself?
Yeah, the first thing I ask myself is, have I tried to see if I've experienced such a thing before, right? To see
Okay.
if this is something that have happened before, right? Like I said, patterns. And then if it's something that have happened before, I just go back to like my previous solutions to that problem. But if it's something new, the next question I ask myself is, how do you go about this? Right? How
Okay.
do you go about this? Yeah, so I think that's the first step, right? What are you doing to solve that particular problem? Yeah, so yeah, that's what I asked myself basically. All right, we have this issue now. Nnamdi, how are you going to go about this? How are you going to fix this? Right, so I believe the end goal is, as a software engineer, yeah, you're being hired to solve problem, not just to build products. You're being hired to build product, yes, but also to create solutions to things. Yeah. So um you just need to figure out things, right? You have to be smart enough to think of a solution to something. If it has not happened before, sometimes you could actually see a bug that no one has experienced before, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't just go and tell your employer, this thing I've not seen it before. It cannot, I don't know who you get. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how you have to start, right? Bit by bit. Okay, what is the issue? Oh, okay, this API call is very slow. Okay, our Redis server, I think they are not caching this data very well. It's too much load on our database. Now I figured it out. You get? I'm trying to figure out where the problem is coming from. Once I've
Okay.
done that, the next thing is acting on that discovery, right? Okay, I think this issue is caching issue. How do I solve it? I go and implement a Redis cache or something. You get? So
Perfect. Perfect.
discovery in the sense that you see it for what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shrink it means you go and start solving it bit by bit. You ship it, whatever you have, as long as it is workable, right? As long as it's going to unblock people, right? People can log into your app successfully. Just ship it. You don't have to make it perfect and all of that. Ship that fix for now. Then you can
Okay.
go and make some refinements later and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like in as much as of course you are pushing it to your personal experience as a senior software engineer, I can of course still see how it relates to like other parts of life, you know, and it just works hand in hand, of course. Perfect. So I mean, for you, it was easy for you to just think about the fact that okay, I'm automatically supposed to go through this route. But for other people who are trying to train their mind to be like that, okay, they might not necessarily think about it. So why do you actually think that people, like some people like automatically just have the mindset of okay, things are supposed to be solution oriented, and other people just focus on the problem? What do you think is that mindset shift or that thought process that should be transferred to them? Why do you think some people just think like, okay, there's a problem, I should solve it, or I should look for a way to solve it, even if I cannot directly solve it? But then for other people, it's just like, oh, I'm in a problem. What do you think is that mindset shift that you think we need to communicate?
Mm, well, so I think it for me it boils down to being knowledgeable, right?
Okay.
You have to be being knowledgeable and have like hands-on skills, right? So for someone like myself, um when I was still like in my early stages of in the early stage of my career, right, I try to build products, try to build projects, right? If I'm not doing anything, I just go to look for like hard things to do, right? I enjoy doing hard things, you get.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah. So I feel with that, yeah, it builds my muscle memory to want to think like differently, do you get? I think differently. And also what I do is I'd rather face like have an idea of what the problem is. So by learning things, working on projects, different things, I try to be knowledgeable. And then when I go to my work and I see something, right? That's why I
Okay.
said most times I just go back to what my past experience. Okay, I've seen this before, right? I've worked on this project before. Oh yeah, I think I've done something like this before, right? Even if it's not the same thing, it's like somewhat similar, right? So one thing I would say is I try to gain knowledge as much as I can, right? Because no knowledge is a waste. So in my free time, I read books, I build products, I build different projects so that whenever I'm being faced with real life situations, I could actually make a reference to something I've done in the past, right? And then I
Yeah.
use it to fix the particular issue I'm having.
Okay. I was seeing a tweet sometime when someone said, if you're smart, you're smart. If you're not smart, you're not smart. Okay. And so I want to bring that into this conversation, of course. Do you think being solution oriented is something that happens naturally to you, or it's something that can be trained? And if it can be trained, if your discourse is already being trained, where do you think is a perfect place to start from?
Okay, so I would say nobody is born to be a solution provider. Do you get me?
Okay.
Right. So it's your mindset, right? It's your mindset. If you have the grit to, I mean, we have people that have those kind of temperaments. Do you get people that want to have things done, right? If something's not fixed, they cannot be be at peace yet. But also it can be trained where you force yourself to, like I mentioned, to do hard things, things that you've not done before. You don't just relax on the basic things you do every day. You get me? Try to expand your knowledge, your horizon, try to do hard things. And I think it builds up your confidence and your zeal to want to tackle hard situations, basically. So I would say that it can be learned, right? It can be learned. And how do you start? You start by doing things that you're not comfortable, that you don't do normally, right? So let's say, for instance, I'm a business analyst. Just give you an instance now. I make use of Excel. I know how to use Microsoft Word and all of that. These are like the things I do normally, right? Now, with the introduction of AI, have you thought of imbibing AI into your work, right? Have you thought of integrating maybe Claude or ChatGPT, making your work very, very much faster than it used to be? You know, that's you providing a solution, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Something that normally takes you an hour, you can use AI to automate it to take like 10 to 20 minutes, right? So don't just stay relaxed at the things you do regularly, right? Try to upskill, try to do things you've not done before. Like myself, I started as a front-end engineer, right? Started as front-end engineer, building websites, web applications, and all of that. But would I say I got bored? No, I didn't get bored of front end. I wanted to know more, right? I
Okay.
wanted to know more, which made me dive into back end, right? And from that, like going into back end, learning the basics, the advanced part,
Yeah.
and now I can say I'm a full stack engineer. I could actually beat my chest and say I can build a product, both the front end and the back end. And right now, even me being a full stack engineer, I'm still trying to dive into mobile app development,
No,
right?
nice.
No, so do you get? So it's not like anybody is paying me to do these things. These are things I have that hunger, right? That hunger to want to know things, know how things are being done, right? So first is just to get that mindset of upskilling, never settling for what you know, right? Try to do things you've not done before. So with that, it really helps broaden your knowledge gap and everything.
Okay. So now talking about that, so I just realized that it's more of a personal development thing. You know, it's more of a personal development thing. And so let's go personal. Let's go personal for you today. You have been able to build your mind to like this form where it's at this space. So for someone now who wants to actually just who is interested in this conversation, what specific, would I say, habits or environment as, should I say, worked hand in hand on a personal level to actually put you in this mindset space? Because I feel like that, just as you mentioned, I feel being solution oriented is more, it's more around the nature than, it's more about around nurture than nature. Most times you're not born with it, right? It's around nurture. It's around what is around you. What are the things that you kind of like bring into your system? So from you as a personal person, what are the personal things that you do, or would you say their habits, or what particular environment actually made you into this? Because not everybody would just sit down and say they want an extra problem to now look for something that it's against their norm. A lot of people
Yeah.
are at that point where they are so scared to move away from their norm because they know it's going to challenge their mind. So, what things would you say worked hand in hand to influence this you?
Okay. So for me, right, from my own
Yeah.
experience, um, hmm, I would say the kind of people I surrounded myself with, right? So your friends shape, like they have an impact. The kind of people you socialize with, the kind of people you interact with actually have an impact in how you develop yourself career-wise, how you think as well, right? If you have lots of billionaire friends, just me, you start thinking like a billionaire. I'm just
Of
saying that.
course.
So I think myself, I surrounded myself with solution-oriented people, right?
Okay.
People who love to think outside the box, right? People who love to do things that have not been done before, right? People who don't take no, it is not possible as an answer, right? Also, I had a mentor. He might not know he's my mentor, but someone I looked up to while I was working, right? So my boss, very smart guy, very focused, very solution oriented, right? I can remember there's this project we were working on, very big project here. And they would just bring in mad features for us to build. In my head, I'm like, can we do this thing? Are you
Is this
are you sure we
possible?
can do you get? And then
Yeah.
my boss will be like, okay, no problem. Yeah, I think it's possible, we can do it. More than like, boss, are you sure we can? So you get. So now he
Yeah.
has taken up that challenge. Yeah, he has taken up that challenge. And trust me, we will actually build that feature. He has taken up. So you don't really want to go back to management and tell them, sorry, I made a mistake. We really can't build this thing. Right? Now
Yeah.
you've taken up that challenge to yourself. Next thing he does is he make research about it. Very, oh my God, that my boss, very smart guy. Like he's someone I learned a lot from.
Kudos to him wherever he is.
Yeah, he's someone I learned a lot from, right? So he goes bit by bit. Okay, on the front end part, what are we meant to do? On the back. Now this boils down to the shrinking. Remember,
Yeah.
shrinking
Mm-hmm.
aspect, breaking it down into pieces. Okay, this is what front end is meant to do. This is what back end is meant to do. If we bring it together, we have a workable solution, right?
Of course.
And then he doesn't just spread the task to us. He explains it in details. And trust me, oh my God, if that feature is meant to take a week, before within 3 days we are done, right? So now this person has that solution-oriented mindset, right? He's not scared. He's not the type to say, this cannot be done and all of that. He'll tell you, yeah, it's possible, right? Listen, take it in first, right? Don't
Yeah.
just rub it off. Take it in, think about it, find a solution around it, and trust me, we just figure it out. And another thing is sometimes when you commit to things, yeah, you get forced to do them. For instance, he has already committed to delivering that product, and then there's no that way. We really have to do this, yeah. So first of all, I would
Definitely.
say looking up to someone who is solution, having a mentor in general, very, very important, right? Having someone you look up to, someone you can ask questions, someone you can learn from, and also surrounding yourself with solution-oriented people, right? Like myself, I have lots of friends that if I tell you what they are doing, man, you're like, wow, so you get
Mm.
so. And friends like that. So you don't when your friends are talking about, oh, I want to build this product, I want to do this, and you're just the only one sitting and listening to them. It doesn't really
You'll be
make sense.
motivated. Yes.
You get so
Of
you
course.
actually want to push yourself to want to do something similar, right? So I think your circle affects how you think. So getting the right circle and having someone you look up to really help develop that solution oriented mindset. Really.
Okay. So I mean, now I feel like it just boils down to the things of show me your friends and know who you are, of course, because these are the people that most times you have communications with like almost every single time. So now we
Yeah.
know that environment, the people around you is one. But for someone now that wants that decided that, oh, I know that there is something, I know that my mind is supposed to be at this point, like I'm supposed to attend to situations differently. But then I'm still at a self pity phase. In the next 30 days, what would you say is three things that you would advise that this person consciously do to be able to push their mind to a point where they see things from a point of possibility rather than impossibility? Let's put a timeline for 30 days. What should you say is an habit shift or a life shift that you feel like this person should consciously do?
Okay. I don't I don't think I have up to three though, but I would say the basic thing is be knowledgeable, right? Be knowledgeable. Have a skill, right? And then with that your skill set, try to be very knowledgeable about around it. You get. Secondly, try to do things differently, things you've not done before, right? For instance, you're trying to learn a new skill, you're trying to be a data analyst, you're trying to go into software engineering or whatever, right? You can have like there's what they call muscle memory. So I'll give an instance, I'll give an analogy that one of my bosses gave to me at some point. So he said when you have a tap, right, that drips bit by bit, hmm, and then you keep a bucket under that tap. If you leave that bucket and come back in like 2 days, you'll see that the water quantity in that bucket will actually like you see like a huge sum of water in that bucket, right? So now, why is that happening? Because that tap is dripping non-stop, right? So are you learning? If you're learning something, keep on doing it. You get me? Keep on doing it. If your skill level is at 5, keep on doing it. If you do it at least 2 hours in a week, you try to learn something, you know, that's your level 5. You're going to get to level 20, and that's something, right? You get that's something, right? But also, so for me, that was really a very good analogy. But sometimes I try to say, nah, I try to look for something else. So I was like, what if that bucket is actually leaking?
Okay, okay.
Do you
Yeah.
get? So you need to make sure you are focused, right? So you have to be a bucket that retains something. Yeah. So you have to open your mind to want to retain knowledge, right? Don't just learn things and let them. No, no, no. You learn because you really want to get something out of it. You get me? So just try to be a bucket that is not leaking, right? Not a broken bucket. And with that, trust me, your skill level will keep on increasing and all. So yeah, I would say repetition leads to mastery at some point. Yeah, repetition leads to mastery. Discipline, try to be very disciplined about your time, your schedule. If you want to do this, know that this is time for work, this is time for learning, this is time for play. Have a proper timeline on your activities and be disciplined about it. Yeah. So I think this is just the brief advice I'll give to anybody that's
Perfect,
trying to.
perfect. I'm actually even pretty much excited for anybody that's going to storm on this episode because even me, I've kind of like, okay, I'm really taking this one over. So to conclude the conversation, I'm just going to ask you something really random. Okay,
All right. All right.
what is would you say is a problem in the society that most people have kind of accepted as normal, but you think shouldn't be? So this is general. We're putting like a general thing out. What do you think is the problem with the society that people have seen to say, oh, okay, it's okay, but you think that till whatever, this is not okay with me. I mean, you could take a detox. You take a detox
Yeah.
to it. Okay, go on. What do you think is something like that?
Okay.
Mm,
So I would say these days, yeah, we have not people who are not willing to follow the process. Get me?
okay.
People who are trying to jump from level 0 to level 100, right? And now they take you now, you that you're trying to follow the process, they take you for granted that with you guys. I beg, you get what I'm saying, yeah? So it's okay to follow the like when we do things, we try to follow the process and not try to skip, not trying to jump. You get me? So everything has like for me, I feel like everything has a step you can follow. As you can as well fast track that step. Do you get me? You can fast track that step, sleepless nights, being uh, being dedicated, being committed, and all of that. But so, for instance, you see someone, you know, you're not a senior, right? You know you're not a senior, and then you're applying for a senior role, and who knows, you might actually get that job because interview is just about impressing your interviewer, answering questions, and all. You might actually get that job, and then when it comes to time for you to work, you do rubbish. Do you get me? And a lot of people do things like this. Like, apply for a job. Even if you don't have the skill, you learn on the job. Yes, you can learn on the job.
Yeah.
But sometimes you really need to think deep and ask yourself, can I actually do this thing? Am I actually skilled enough to go for this kind of role, right? So I feel we shouldn't try to jump, right? There's a process. We should try to follow the process. And in as much as, okay, we want to make it fast, you can, like I said, you can fast track it. How do you fast track it? By making sacrifice, yeah? Putting in more time, being more dedicated and all. But it's better you follow the due process than you try to jump from level 0 down to level 100. Because on the long run, it's going to tell. It's going to
Yes.
everybody will know everybody will know that you're a fraud, basically.
Yeah.
So you don't want that kind of embarrassment and all. So yeah, that's something I could think of right now.
Thank you so much. Even me myself, I had such an amazing time with you. I feel there's something that I've learned that I know I'm talking about is most times I mean you might not have said it verbally, but it's like most of the solutions that you actually need are around you. I think there's an analogy that I took that from was when you mentioned your time with your boss, and most of it was the one that actually got the thing right. It's most times was one that got the problem, but having to communicate it
Mm,
to you guys. And most of you guys
yeah,
are probably in the process of communicating ideas come in and realize that oh I can actually do this
true,
thing, you know.
true.
So I feel like most times that's actually one. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Hopefully
Yeah,
you're even
thank
more
you for having
excited
me.
more on more communications. And yes, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah,
Sure.
you
Thank you
too.
so much.
Yeah.
Bye.